I was gonna say pull Nike up, and then we'll talk about that as much as we can till the main event comes in.
All right. Peace, power, and profit, everybody. Welcome to Money Mondays with Mo. I got my brother Sonny in the building. Say peace, Sonny.
Peace, peace, peace. How's
Yep.
everybody doing?
So we got the East Coast and the West Coast representing so far. We'll have the Dirty South and the North gonna show up at some point today. But in the meantime and in between time, y'all, we're gonna talk about the topic, which is I think why Nike really how Nike sabotaged their own company. So let's see. Let me share the show. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Let me go ahead and get this link out to some folk. Okay, so bear with me about 2 seconds. I don't have no nice and jazzy music like Andre be doing and obsessions. Shout out to Andre. Shout out to Obsessions and Christina and what's the other young lady that be on here? Um, I forgot her name. She gonna kill me. But anyway, she know who I'm talking about. Yep, and the sisters that be coming on the panel and doing the shows. Uh, Randy, yeah, Randy. There it is. Oh, gotta find my charger, y'all. Hold on. So this evening we're gonna chop it up, and Sonny gonna help me come up with some commentary about Nike. So I'm gonna share my screen real quick. Well, let's share the charts. We could talk. You want to talk about the charts, or you want to talk about these articles that I have? Which one you want to do first?
It's up to you.
Okay, let's do the articles. I'm gonna share my screen, everybody. We know Nike took a nice little pullback. On Wednesday, we played the earnings report, and we also played the um we played the earnings report. We talked about the stock. We analyzed the technicals. We looked at the fundamentals. But here's some more commentary about Nike and maybe some underlying reasons that we seem to think that they probably sabotaged their own company before it happened. So here's an article in Forbes magazine. It says Nike takes a brand stand, reportedly exits six more retailers, including DSW, Urban Outfitters, and Macys. And so the article I originally was going to pull up, which I might not be able to pull that one up either, it stated as Nike cuts ties with retailers, competitors look to take a place in the whole. So this one want me to subscribe. I'm not a subscriber. So we'll keep the party rolling. Let's see if Forbes. Let me see if it let me close out of it. Nope. Let's see if Forbes will let me read the article.
That sound like it's finna have a chain reaction.
Right. So it says Nike is reportedly cutting ties with six more key retailers, according to William trading analyst Sam Paulser. That decision should be reverberated in the boardrooms of many department stores and multi-brand specialty. I just, you little peanut, I just did. Come on, Chris. We've been waiting for 37 minutes. I didn't start. Hold on, you guys. Back in August, Nike announced it was closing accounts at Fred Meyer, Zappos, Dillard's, City Blue, VIM, Eblin's, Belks, Bob's Stores, and Bosco's. While those players were not significantly today's vacation list included DSW, Urban Outfitters, Shoe Show, Durham Sports, Olympia Sports, and Big Five Sporting Goods is stunning news. And to further shake the status quo, Pauser said they have also added Macy's to the list. So as you can see, these are some big name brands stores that Nike decided to pull out of. right? It says anyone that's following retail's creative destruction, which has only been accelerated by the pandemic, knows that these steps have been long in the making. The department stores and specialties that had long been the haven for these manufacturers have slowly moved from custodian caretakers of their scared national brands to preventers and peddlers. Oh boy. This has all been part of the great race to the bottom when specialty market retailers and department stores lost sight of their consumer centric roots and attempted to outdo the internet and the low price discounters. This led to hundreds of thousands of square feet of undifferentiated retail space, paper thin margins, and wholesale closures. The collateral damage was lost brand value for many. Let's do it. Nike, arguably one of America's prenup brands, saw the writers writing on the mall walls when it opens its first Nike Town in Portland, Oregon in November of 1990. The store arguably became the poster child for Joe Penn and Jim Gilmore defining treaties that experience economy. Among many of the book's contributions were the four E's of education, aesthetics, escapism, and entertainment, cornerstones of the experience economy and the brick and mortar of what has become known as experiential retailing. It is also the antidote to commoditization. So there you have it. But beyond mere brand commoditization, Nike had its eyes clearly fixed on a higher margin runaway that would protect its brand and message by building a direct to consumer distribution channel. By 2011, their DTC channel revenue was just shy of 3 billion, making up 16% of their gross sales. By the end of the fiscal 2020, that number doubled to 35%, while at the sales quadrupled to 12.4 billion. Multi-brand exit plan. With the launch of Nike House of Innovation flagships in New York City in late 2018, the brand introduced a host of new innovative, interactive digital tools and apps to take their in-store experience to a new level of unified commerce, employing some pretty cool digital customization tools. In June of the same year, they also debuted Nike Live in Los Angeles. Keep it going. In order to truly up the ante on exclusively, Nike Live was a member only venue focused on 2 week product rotation and immersive digital interaction. The small localized format store became a social media beacon complemented by their digital app. The test was such a success that Nike recently announced plans to build 200 small format stores using the Nike Live model. These are likely to become the successors to all those old wholesale doors that they are fleeing. And Nike is not alone in the exit plan. Under Armour is also looking to leave thousands of wholesale doors, while Adidas is planning to have 50% of their sales direct to consumer by 2025. All this activity is likely to send additional shivers down the C-suite condors of JCPenney and Kohl's. One only need to view the pedestrian product displayed in these stores to see exhibit A of why they are going away. Yeah, you ain't lying, because every time I went in those department stores, they we freezing? Oh, wait a minute.
Chris said he couldn't be on tonight.
Right. Yeah, so those Nike was pulling Nike pulled out of those stores. They started their own little they when they started their little online deal, digital online deal, right? But you know what? I was wondering why when I would go into those stores, into different stores, and sometimes you could go into stores and you could find little Nike sneakers. Now, I'm not talking about like the Jordans or anything like that, but just little cute little Nike sneakers. And as time passed by, I was wondering why the selection decreased a lot. Now I know. Okay. Oh,
Was that was the end of the article?
yeah, that was the end of that one.
Okay.
Okay, so we have another one. What's up, Brandon?
What up, peace, Brandon?
Let's see. Um, this other one.
What's going on, y'all? Hey, Mo, can you throw that in the back?
Hold on. Well, we already got them. Look in the chat with Andre. You talking about these articles? Brandon.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, you talking about these articles?
Oh, no, that first one that you read off. Can you throw that one in the back chat? I didn't get a chance to.
Okay,
Uh,
I'll give you that one.
all right.
Let me see. Let me copy this and give it to Brandon. Let me see, y'all. Sorry, y'all. I haven't been on StreamYard in a while, so I gotta figure this out. So I haven't been on StreamYard, you guys. So wait a minute.
You can just throw it in the back chat.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to get
Messenger.
it. I'm gonna have to give it to you. I'll give it to you
Okay.
in a few minutes. Let me go back. All right, so this article it says Nike to pull its kicks from Foot Locker and other major retailers. So, and this was in March of 2020. So boom. The name of the show is that did they sabotage themselves? Because as we know, the market pull Nike stock dip. That's Friday, right? So these are some of the articles or commentary that's on the streets about Nike and what was its plans. And now here we are in 2022, we know the supply chain shortage and all of that stuff that's going on overseas. But here's another perspective and another spin. It says, not long ago, Nike sent letters to smaller mom and pop shops informing them that they'd no longer be getting product from Nike as they weren't moving enough merchandise to justify continuing business with them. But now Nike plans on pulling its brand from the big boy franchises, including Foot Locker, Foot Action, and Palace, with word that Nike will be opening up on more brick and mortar stores across the globe and making the sneakers app more fair. They need all the product they have in order to make both plans a huge success. So Nike pulled its product from the brick and mortars or the stores, mom and pop stores, and some of the big brands that Nike is known to be at to do their own app, to do their own thing. What y'all think about that? Oh, wait a minute. My bad. I didn't see y'all back there. Oh, that's Drake. What up, Dre?
What up? What up?
So what do you guys think about that? Because Drake brought that point up that they sabotage themselves. They like, hey, I've been doing business. They told the mom and pops, listen, you guys ain't moving no product. Shoot, I got a new avenue, a new street to run on. I'm gonna go and take that product because I'm gonna need it to be able to distribute when all these new consumers and retailers start to purchase from my app. They recruit their product. They recruit the inventory. They liquidated off the stores. Where'd y'all go? Am I talking to myself? Y'all can't hear me? Oh man.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. What did you say?
I was asking, what do you guys think about um Apple removing their product from the mom and pop stores and some of the big brand stores so that they can further their adventure with the apps or the digital world, and saying they needed their inventory to be able to push out to those mom and pop stores. I mean, push out to their retailers who are going to purchase from their apps or their digital online platforms.
Well, that makes sense in my book. I mean, you got to find what's the biggest driver that moves the nickel for your company. Like, yeah, mom and pops is nice, but again, if you got a consistent, customer coming into your store, let's say at like, T-Mobile or Target, I mean, what takes precedence? Mom and pops or these big retail stores that could potentially double your money.
Or online, if everybody's moving online.
Right, everyone online as well,
Right.
and that's still retail as well, like
Right.
Best Buy or Target or whatever. So I mean, yeah, chuck the deuces up to mom and pop, but I mean, you want that. It's all about I don't want to say about ads, but it's more about foot traffic. Like
Right.
who's coming in retail stores nowadays? Everybody. Who's coming to mom and pop stores? Somebody who's looking for like knickknacks,
Or or even more, who's shopping online?
Right.
Everybody.
Right, everybody, and who they shopping with though? That's the thing too. So
and right. And you're able to get quicker discounts and rewards online than you are in the store.
exactly,
Because they're trying to capture your attention in more ways than none.
and
You
that's
know,
an overhead that Apple doesn't have to pay for.
right. Overhead taxes. I
Yep.
mean, so I don't know if I don't know if the pullback or the stock dipping would have. I mean, them if them not being in a brick and mortar would have any significance during this time with the pullback, because everybody's pulling back right now. Everybody's stock is taking a dip. I don't know.
And we
What do you
and
guys think?
when you think about it, what's coming up this?
We
Well,
got
what's coming up in December?
it,
Christmas.
right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So, but let me know if I'm too loud, y'all.
you
It's
too
just
loud.
microphone.
I'm
I'm
just
too
playing.
loud.
No.
No. So right before I fell off the other time, Brandon was like, he think it was smart. I think Brandon. You said you thought it was good, right? That they did that.
Well, they got to pivot, yeah. So I think that's a good strategy for Apple to recoup some of the losses. I
You mean
mean,
Nike?
what was it, Apple? What were we talking about? Nike
No,
or Apple?
Nike.
We're talking about
Oh,
Nike.
I thought you said Apple.
Nah. So what happened was, let me make sure I'm not.
That's why you said T-Mobile. I didn't know what you was.
Right. I'm like, she said Apple for like 3-4 times.
Nah.
What the hell
What
you
happened
talking
was that So I'm not gonna mention no names, but one of Andre's Angels is head of product line for Nike apparel. And I remember when she first came to me and told me what they were gonna do, and I was like, that's silly, because I used to be a buyer. And what Nike used to do, right? When you bought Nike, it was a guy named Ed Holden, right? Ed Holden was the whole Eastern Seaboard sales rep. Now, this is circa 1999, when I was only a mid-teenager, but I was lucky to get into the industry early under a guy that trusted me because he thought I had an eye for fashion. And what Nike would do was, let's say I had a store, Brandon, you had a store, Marquise had a store, and Marcus had a store. What happened was, let's say y'all three stores wasn't as impressive as my store, right? So I would be in the meeting with y'all and see regular product. And then after that meeting, he would they would leave thinking they saw everything. And then I would go back into the room and see the real dope stuff, right? And they did that because that's how you balance the boo-boo or the stuff that that's not gonna do as well to the stuff that everybody wants, right? And by them pulling out of brick and mortar mom and pop stores, you tighten your own distribution. If everybody wanted a pair of Nike Tech sweatpants on Black Friday and you're only delivering out of your Nike store and out of Memphis, how do you fill those orders? So you take it out of Macys, you take it out of Urban Outfitters. How do you do that, right? Because you can't supply that demand. So if you look at where they're at now, there is no coincidence that they are suffering inventory wise and they pull all their product out of everyone who pushed their inventory. And you can blame it on distribution chains as far as production. But let me tell you something, Macy's, Foot Locker, and all them stores they pull that product out of, if Nike would have said, yo, the stuff is coming in 3 weeks later than Imagine, they still taking it because like you just said, Christmas is coming. Right? But they were being a-holes. I knew a store in Orlando, black brother, he owned 2 Finish lines. Nike just pulled, this man was spending $250,000 a season with Nike and they pulled all their stuff out of his store. They, for no reason. They just told him, yo, this your last season. And I told the person that's head of product line for them who's still over there, I said, yo, y'all gonna lose. Y'all gonna lose under that. You know what I'm saying? And you see it right now. Like eventually, yeah, they can go direct to consumer, but they're gonna have to tighten up the numbers. But it was just kind of like weird because the same people that built up your brand, which is the mom and pop store, you're gonna abandon them, right? For just yourself, which is corporate greed. I think they sabotage themselves on that level. And think about it like this: you have companies like if you know about Sneaker Villa. If you know about DTLR, do you know how many doors they were pumping Nike? I mean, not just like Jordans, but like whether it be foam posits, whether it be all these other what they call tier 1 or hyperstrike product, right? And then you just say like, yo, it's just gonna be us. Like it was just weird.
Do you think Nike? Well, obviously, I guess what the sentiment is, Nike is bogus for doing that to mom and pop. But do you feel some type of way for the mom and pop stores? Do you feel sad that Nike's doing this?
Yeah, you know why? Because another thing I know, Brandon, as a buyer, right? So let's say, well, even when I left the buying side and went into the manufacturing side of fashion, right? So if I was at the Magic Show, right, a lot of stores would come to me. They'd be like, yo, Dre, you still cool with people from Nike and Jordan? I'm like, yeah. They'd be like, yo, these dudes want us to clear out $250,000 in a credit line, and I have to have $200,000 liquid for my store. A lot of people change their whole business model just to have a Nike account in their store. So what happens 2 years later when you booked all this product? They say, yo, we're not sending it. When you deal with credit factors like that, the credit factor like, yo, I don't care. Now you don't owe the credit factor that money, but the credit factor won't release that money to another brand once Nike back that order. So the credit factor is like, yo, okay, so you want to shift it from Nike to Adidas. They be like, no, we approve Nike. Well, Nike ain't shipping it. All right, well, see you next season. So you know what that does to you? When you expecting all this product, and then you're not even getting product, period, because the credit factor won't even switch it over to, let's just say if you say, all right, Nike say, F us, we're going to up our Adidas order by 30%. If it's the same factor, they're not doing it.
And yeah, that's what I was going to hit on next a little bit. Knowing that you're going to have a premier brand into your store, wouldn't that put more pressure on you to add additional costs into with merchandise around that store, knowing that you have a store just to cover like this?
Say that again. I don't know if that was my end that broke up or was it young, and I couldn't really hear what you said.
I think you're staticking a little bit right now.
My bad. Is that my microphone staticky?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh man, all this money I paid for this goddamn. Yo, is it still like popping or something like that?
Yeah.
All right, let me get out of here.
It sounds like you in front of a fan.
Yeah, you got to turn the game down.
What's up, Marquise?
What's good?
What up, brother? What up, son?
What's good, man? Not much.
I ain't gonna lie. That the conversation of what that article said, it actually made me want to put some long calls on Nike.
Based
I mean,
on
that's
this,
still tough though.
based on this digital channel.
No, just on the article.
I have a question. Have y'all looked into their debt obligations and their corporate bonds?
Not the corporate bonds, but the debt. I think that we well it with the corporate bond would that show on macro trends, Brandon?
I think I gotta find a tab for it. I'm gonna look for it right now. It should, but I don't think- because they don't.
You're kind of breaking up a little.
Just saying they it should, right?
So you in the Matrix?
Oh snap! All right, hold up, give me 1 second.
How do I sound now? Is it still cracking?
Oh, much better.
You good? You good now?
Oh, watch this. Oh, no.
Oh god. not the sip R&B songs.
Look, let me try it on my mic. You ready, Mo? You ready for my hit?
You gotta throw some auto tune on there.
Now
man.
here you go. Here we go. All right, this is for all you ladies.
Try
Here
with
you go.
Your boxes and your socks on.
Here you go. Here's my joint. You looking kinda good. I was hoping you would kinda invite me over for some cookies and vagina. Oh, that boy good, Jack.
Boy, that went platinum.
Ow.
Platinum.
Get that boy a gold record.
Wow.
Yo, y'all can use that when y'all in the lounge and you see a girl, just say, "You're looking kind of good. I was hoping you would kinda invite me over for some cookies and vagina." She was like, "Oh yeah, I got Chips Ahoy and I got chocolate chunk." I'm telling you, it worked, Jack.
He says cookies and some vagina. Boy, that's a t-shirt moment right there. But no, I don't see it on micro trends, the corporate bonds.
Yeah, I gotta start looking into y'all, and investing into these companies. You want to look at their debt obligations and how they're doing on their bonds and when their bond payments coming up.
Yeah, I think though I'll get some insider information on that, but I think they're pretty good with that. They had their coffers, like they were pretty good with that because of what a lot of people don't understand is that, like, before this debacle, like people think like Nike still pays bottom dollar to make these shoes, right? Like, because they had such scale, right? I remember this was like 12 years ago. Let me see, about 12 years ago. I remember I was in Hong Kong, and my man knew one of the factories that was making their shoes out of Shenzhen. And the dude told me, he was like, "Yo, we have so much work that we outsource our work to other factories and then have them fly the shoes back to China to ship it back to the United States." So they have the scale. You understand? When you have that type of scale, because what people don't understand, when you pay, another thing Nike does that a lot of people didn't know what they were doing with mom and pop stores, and this is another reason why they shot themselves. They never gave you Keystone on your shoe. And for the people that don't know what Keystone is, it's basically retail divided by wholesale, right? So you're basically saying if a Jordan costs $220, Keystone is if I paid $110 for the shoe, minus the shipping. So you could probably tack on another $5 per shoe per shipping, depending on how they used to use roadway, now they use FedEx, whatever. And I think they switched to UPS. The point I'm making is this. Remember when the Air Force One retook off again, popularity-wise, when I was still a buyer in 1999, the Air Force One retailed the low. It retailed for $75. So technically, you're supposed to pay $37.50 per the shoe and then retail it at $75. Nike charged stores $42.50. They gave you another $7 on your wholesale. You wasn't even making double or keystone on your shoe, right? So they were making money hand over fist, because if you went directly to them, you're gonna pay $70. It probably costs them $3 to make it. If you go to the store, they're still getting $80, right? And cost them $3 to make it. So why pull your product? You're making money on both ends. It just is weird.
I think it's more of a lack of product and trying to, determine what's the outcome gonna be for the, the future forecast. Because I don't see anything coming over from China anytime soon. I mean, yeah, we're still gonna get trickles of stuff coming over, but I don't see anything.
So you
Like,
thinking that the supply chain, their production within China is going to be just jacked up to the point where they not be able to get shoes in on time?
not, I mean, not jacked up to the point where like nothing's gonna come over, but like it's gonna be stagnant. Like you might get like a couple shipments in, you know, May, then another shipment over, in probably like July. I don't know because what is it, shipments like? I guess shipments every week, every other week coming over. I don't know how the shipment works out, but I think it's gonna be stagnant through the months instead of like every month. It's gonna be every 4 months.
Well, I could tell you this. I know this for a fact. If a sneaker release date, let's say all the sneakers that's supposed to drop on Black Friday or the week thereof, before, after, like 1 week before Black Friday, 1 week after, those
Yeah,
sneakers are already in the United States. If I was to call my plug from Jordan right now, well, I call him, email him, and say, yo, I need the white and red 11s, boom, they'll be at my house tomorrow because they already got them, right? This is why when you seen that train situation when they got robbed, you seen all those sneakers that supposed to drop in December. They get those sneakers 2 months in advance. One, because of marketing. They got seating they got to do for celebrities and blah, blah, blah. And then two, they want to make sure everyone gets them in on time. So, you know, in their case, we don't know yet. Your theory may be tested in January, right? When it's time to do, because in January they should be getting product in for what we call spring 2, which is between April to June, and then June is summer. You know what I'm saying?
right, right.
You have a question from the chat. Beautiful one asks, how do you know Tesla stock will continue to decrease in value, and how much? So I basically responded and said we do a technical and fundamental analysis by basically, and then plot your support and resistance on a chart. And what I mean by that is once you do your research on the company, then go to the charts and select, the price that you think that the stock may trade between. That's what I would do, but the fellows may have a different comment.
I would actually
Um,
say if you look at the market cap, right? The market cap has been lower, um, and you see what the company is doing. If you look, it's three. It had went in a reverse split of 3 for 1 stock. So right now, if you do 3 times what it is, I think it's at 246. So if you do 3 times that, it is about $718. So it's ranging about what it was before the split anyway, because the split before the split, it was ranging from about 600 to 900, and so this is on a monthly basis. So it's still in the same range if you want to get technical, and that's how you know if it's going up or down just looking at the market cap.
I mean, market cap and then the technicals, I mean, are all key elements, but I think it takes your sentiment to understand the market itself. I mean, you got to understand the fundamentals behind it, like what just happened for Tesla besides a vehicle. He just released what? He just released a robot for $25,000. You think the thing is gonna pop right away? It can potentially in the future if he gets the government behind it to replace these jobs. You know, these are things that you got to think about. You got to come up with your own sentiment. So far as like Tesla right now, I'm just waiting for a good buy-in moment. I mean, you still got the overall macro information that you still got to digest. You know, you still have the yield that you got to understand. Which one are you looking at? Are you looking at the 2 year? Are you looking at the 10 year? It's all these key factors that you still again have to put into this big soup or in this big crop pot, you know, to get the understanding of a one particular stock and how it moves.
Did it go quiet or what happened?
No,
Can
I
y'all hear
finished my
me?
statement.
Oh,
I've been talking this whole time. Can you hear me now?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. So I was responding. Yeah, so basically they're not saying that it's going to increase. What they're saying is once you do some research and gain an understanding what's going on with the company, Sonny threw out market cap and what it's done in the past with its prices in reference to stock reversals. Brandon talked about looking at some doing some more, knowing your sentiment, knowing what the company has produced as far as its products is concerned. And then you can make an informed decision on that. Earlier, Marquise talked about the bonds. It's debt bonds and what when does those payment comes into a factor. Andre points out a lot of the news behavior. What's going on with consumers. So, and I'm just basically pointing out the technical piece of plot your support and resistance on a chart. So once you're around a little bit more, so just for an example, if you can kind of see the chart, I think at Tesla's highest point today was at 248, right? 248. Oh, well, 250. Wait. 252, $252.49, right? And just to kind of play with the numbers, if I wanted to put the point on its lowest point of the day, it would be 241.55. So I would ask myself, do I think Tesla would continue to trade between $241.55 and $252.49, or do I think it's going to break past 252 or under 242? So when you talk about when you say demonstrate, that's the demonstration. My resistance is the 252, and my support is the 242. So anywhere in between that. Now, if I think it's going to break past that, then we'll get more into using some of the indicators or some different things, some indicators that we could use to determine whether or not we think it's going to go break past that. And if it does, when we're watching the chart, then we'll decide at that time whether or not we want to buy into as a long-term investor, meaning you'll keep it for the long haul, or as a options where you want to trade it bullish or bearish, meaning going up or down, that kind of thing. Or you want to buy into it based on it doesn't have any dividends, so that wouldn't be the thing. But it's hard to give a quick answer. We could just kind of give you some pointers, but stick around long enough, hey, you'll pick up some of these things. But let me put in Nike since I got this on Yahoo Finance. Let's see what's going on in Nike, since that's the topic of discussion. So let's see. Oh, Marquise, where do you see the debt bonds? You, you know, can you tell me? I can look at that.
Yeah, they got a couple different places that you can look
Places.
at them if you Google it.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So just put in Nike debt bonds
yeah, Nike bonds,
or Nike
their
bonds.
obligations. I haven't been looking at a lot of sites lately because I don't really trade a lot of other stocks. I mostly just
Right.
do the indices, but every once in a while when I'm in a room with people who do trade them and they talk about it, I pick up on it. And a lot of the people that I trade with, that they definitely rock with those bonds. Everything they do is informed by looking at their debt obligations. And a lot of the people buy their corporate bonds too, because right now because interest rates are rising, a lot of these corporations are giving some really good return on their bonds, like 5%, 8%, stuff like that. So those are really good things to keep an eye on. I think their debt obligations, like their cash and their debt obligations, are kind of like 50-50. I think they're pretty good. When I was looking at it, like Brother Andre said.
Okay. What was I just a second ago? Uh, I like Nike because of its dividend, of course. I still think it do well. I mean, it closed at $85.40. You guys have any other commentary on the Nike? So we really don't give a yes or no whether or not. We just kind of just sharing experiences, what we've done, what we kind of see and heard, based on the particular topic or the stock. We kind of really don't give an idea of up and down. We may suggest or just show kind of plot some points, but we're not financial advisors, and we definitely don't want to give anybody any financial advice. So we're just kind of sharing how we go about doing research and what we look for to determine our next move.
Yeah, they're like looking in terms of like undervalued, overvalued would probably be,
Right.
better way to look at it.
Right. Um, Let me see. Anybody else have anything else you guys want to share?
No, I was just gonna ask.
Oh,
When we look at the actual bonds, are we looking obviously the U.S. bonds, but do you think international bonds for Nike are decent to look at too, or just stick with home?
Internet. I didn't know they had international bonds. What do you mean
Yeah.
by that?
It's called C bonds. I think it's yeah, C
Yeah,
bonds.
yeah, they have international bonds. I don't know how to look it up though.
Yeah, cbonds.com. So the letter C, bonds.com.
You mean
Okay.
you mean to pull it up?
Yeah. How much does it say? The total value of their outstanding bonds. Like how much is it? Is it in the billions or
Yeah,
millions?
What site is it, Brandon?
it's C bonds with an S. It said you had to pay, but let me type in Nike after C bonds. See what comes up.
Yeah, you can't
Yeah,
can't sleep on them bonds. I know some people get some real good returns on a lot of them corporate bonds right now. While the market is falling, they all
right.
about the bonds right now.
So so bonds are essentially the same thing as like the treasury yield bonds. You just throw your money in and wait for either for 2 years or 2 months or whatever, or 3 months until that return comes back, right?
Yeah, they'll have different maturity dates, and then they might pay you out maybe like twice a year or maybe 4 times a year, depending on the bond.
And you say the payout is this like a significant amount or just like a minuscule amount that you might get back?
I mean, it depends on the percentage of
What you put in?
they're giving on the bonds. I think depending on the bond and how long the date is on it. Of course, the ones that are longer usually pay better. I think the shorter ones they might be giving like 2-3% on those, but then they might have some that they might be giving 5%. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right. Like the one we looking at, what the minimum you could put in is like $2,000.
Mm-hmm. And what a lot of people do as well, especially people with funds and more savvy investors, with a lot of these bonds, especially like ETF bonds and stuff like that, they will leverage those bonds. Like you can, if you have like a prime broker, like for example, if you have like ETF bonds, they may give you 70-80% leverage on your bonds. So it's like they buy the bonds and then they leverage the bonds to get 80% back on the bonds, and then they will maybe like do some options, like sell some options with that money.
You talk about the actual broker itself, right?
Yeah. Like if you got like a prime broker, maybe like IB or something like that.
Okay. And I'm guessing you get a kickback from that, right? Or well, yeah, the kickback is the payout through the years, correct?
Yeah, so it's like, let's say they bought 100,000 worth of bonds, then they can turn around and get 80,000, and like they'll give them $80,000. Like they'll leverage those bonds for $80,000, and they still going to get their return on those bonds because they still own the bonds. They just leverage the bonds. They still
Right. Yeah.
payment,
They
and
leverage it.
then
Yep.
they'll turn around and use that 80 grand to maybe do like sell covered calls or something like that. To get even more
Make a quick
money.
profit. Okay,
Yeah.
I got
All right.
Yeah, I
Anything
mean,
else?
it's just a way to cover. Like they also, that also goes into the production side too. You always have leverage of assets, and they pull from it. And like he says, as they mature, you get a certain amount, and then you leverage other. It's almost basically saying this imaginary money against that imaginary money gets me more money. And it's smart
Yep.
business.
Right.
Yeah. And the more they get the return on the initial return that they were getting from the bonds, they give them more leverage. Because their pool of money that is getting bigger. Like so like you said, even companies, of course, do this to hedge as well.
That's deep. But like, I think the only drawback that you might have with this is you got to have a lot of capital to get a significant return, don't you?
Yeah, it is. You would want to have more capital for it to really make sense.
Right. You don't want to come at it with like 10 grand and get like $300 out of it.
Yeah, probably not unless you were. Some people. I know some people who are actually doing it with 10 grand just to like train themselves to invest that way.
Gotcha.
Let's look at like a cash flow. All right, what else y'all got? Our initial star is not here. Chris.
Yeah, Chris. Where Chris at, man? Chris.
You fired. I think you got a question in the chat. Do you guys think the bond market is functioning properly? Marquise?
Oh yeah. He's doing
Yeah.
exactly what it's designed to do.
Yeah.
Leverage.
They all play seesaw with each other, right? So you see that, right? Like
Yep.
they all play seesaw with each other. This is why I think everyone on this panel and the few people that's watching and that's going to watch understands that. I always tell people, as long as you're in the market, you're fine because one's going to hit, right? If you're in the bond market, the gold market, the stock market, one is going to hit, right? Precious metal, one of those commodities or bonds or yields or stocks will hit. That's why it's proper to be proactive in each, right? Because diversifying your money. Like I always tell people, I remember when I first met most of y'all, I said, I want my money to fight, right? I want my growth stock to fight my dividend stock. And then I want my gold to fight the stocks. And then I want other things to fight that, right? Because, I mean, if we don't learn anything, the super rich, outside of the advantage they was given through capitalism, they understand how to make cash flow when it comes to investing. That's just what it is. Like, once you get into the market and we get enough money into these sectors, is when you understand, like, yo, that's why I don't read a lot of the panicking stuff because one is going to hit while the other one declines. When the other declines and the other one hits. So it's like if you got money in both, if you're wise about it and if you have the turtle mentality, you're going to win. You're just going to win.
Yeah, especially if you understand, monetary policy and fiscal policy.
Right.
That would do a lot for you. That you'll really be able to understand like the cyclical, rotation. Like he was talking about. The money rotates, and it's been rotating in a similar way since way back. It has a particular way it rotates, and you just have to understand when certain policies, especially with the Fed, the Fed is going to tell you where the money is going. You just got to you just have to know how to utilize that particular vehicle to capitalize off of it. And you have to make sure you stay in the game. You got to have some cash flow coming in. That's why a lot of people who get into trading and investing, I suggest them to, you need to get you up some residual first. You need to have you some type of money coming in so that you're not out here getting finessed psychologically by these changes in the market. You can stick to your plan. And one thing I've been telling people lately is like, it's because a lot of people ask like, how much do I risk when I'm trading and doing this, especially like people who want to day trade. I tell them not to risk more than a day's worth of income, to keep your psychology together,
Oh, there goes my $20.
Because I mean, you can always come back and make that money. Like that's a day's worth of work. You can
Day's worth of work.
They ain't gonna put you in the po house.
2 hours.
Right now, that's deep. That's deep. A day's worth of work.
Yeah, like especially if you got some residual coming in, you establish something that that's one way you can gauge your risk. Don't risk more than risk the level where you at.
Right. So my risk is I have a little side little payroll gig. I get a couple bucks from. That's what I'm using. To I don't. My main income I definitely don't use. You can't risk none of that. I'm trying to make new money to create other avenues of increasing my portfolio. Which is cool because once you start making profit, you really can just leverage your profit and gain more profit.
Yeah.
You may not. I remember when I first started doing it, after probably about maybe 30 months, I think, I didn't have to really do a deposit into the accounts because I was taking profits. And then if I had some companies that I didn't really think that was going to probably make any more significant moves, I would just sell them and then I'd go and do something else with it, get a profit, and just move it around, shift it around. And in my mind, I'm like, that's what trading is about. As Andre said it earlier. Hey, when the stocks ain't popping, go to, the metals. I remember when he talked about the gold. Was it January this year or January 2021? When you talked about the gold and you was like, y'all should get the gold. Get you some gold if you don't have some gold. I'm buying in at 1100. I think gold is at what, 16 right now? If I'm not mistaken. But yeah, you'll find a way, you'll get comfortable, and you either have freed up money, or um or like Marquis said, don't lose more than a day's work, or maybe you're taking a day's work once a month, or you do like OBAE talked about a lot, $5 a day concept, wherever you
Mm-hmm.
at.
Go ahead and skip that going out to eat. Put it in the market.
Yes, that's what I had to do initially. That's
What
what
do
I
you
had.
say?
Huh?
No, I was gonna say, what did AE say? Brother AE say, you got money for a $5 chicken box. You got money to save.
Yeah.
That
Like,
was
no,
one
that's
of the most
true.
profound things that like wow, like that was one of the things, like you ain't lying. Like I've spent all this frivolous money on this stuff, and then when you look back at the end of the year, or you look back in the money, you see how much you spent, and then you
Oh,
see how these different assets move, and you calculate how much you would have made if you would have put it over there. You just want to slap yourself.
Right.
yeah. I'll be
You know.
sick. I'll be sick. I'm sick right now just thinking about it.
So like one of the biggest game changes for me that I realized that I had to do, and I made a move on, especially when these interest rates was lovely, is that I eliminated my rent by house hacking.
There you go.
So you
Uh,
did what?
House
eliminated
hacking.
my rent by house hacking.
You eliminate your rent by house hacking?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
Meaning that I got a multi-family and I live in one of the units.
Oh yeah, I remember when you got that duplex, like shoot, and
Oh
then
yeah,
everybody else pay
It's
that
a
mortgage.
triplex now. Triplex.
Triplex.
Put some
Oh, my
respect
bad.
on it.
Put some respect for real. And so they pay the mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, and
Yeah,
got
I actually cash flow like $300.
Oh, that's how you do it.
wow.
Uh-huh. And it got an interest rate, and that was like 2%. Uh-huh.
I'm gonna be like you when I grow up. All right. You guys got anything else you want to put out? You know, it's 10:30.
Somebody sleeping.
Yeah, listen. I went to the gym today.
All right.
Oh,
Put in
snap.
that work.
Yeah, I gotta get right. But no, the topic was about Nike and did they sabotage themselves in these days and times. So gonna give some closing comments about Nike. Y'all know my little voice. Once my little voice start getting deep. Look at Mathis. Mathis want the lake. Mathis said we in a dark pool. We leaving him out. we gonna have to put you in the group, Mathis. We kind of segregated to the people who talk. And then we give y'all some information every now and again and keep y'all up and running on the current times. But yeah, well, yeah, closing comments. What y'all think? Did Nike sabotage itself or what?
Uh, no, I don't
No,
think they did. Be
oh, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Sonny. No, go ahead, Sonny. You got.
No, I was just gonna say I don't think that they did. I think that what it is the story changed, and so every company has a story, and this story just changed, and is due to, it could be due to them looking ahead in future guidance and seeing what's going to be, what the economy may be like, as far as spending, as far as supply and demand, and they feel like they have an edge based on the story that they're about to present. And so this is why they changed their story and started recouping back all their product. Makes a big difference.
So you thinking it's this dip? You think is this going to be a temporary deal for Nike? You think that they are going to? Oh, how do I get to this person down here? Oh man, no, my bad, y'all. Hi, Sonny. Somebody's right here, and I can't get him in. Oh, there it goes. Oh, my bad, Gerald. I didn't know you was waiting to get in. I'm sorry. Your little thing is not connected. Uh-oh. Did I go out?
No, I can hear you.
Yeah, so did you hear what I said?
What'd you say?
My bad. You can come back. Oh, there you go. Hold on. Let me see how to get you in. Hold on. Here we go. Oh, you left out again? What's going on? Is your device, it says your device is not connected.
Who was that, Drill?
When you come in, you got to make sure that Gerald, when you come in, you have to make sure that you enable your microphone and your camera so that it can allow, because StreamYard is not allowing you. I think when you click the button, it's not allowing you to come unless you enable.
Yeah, because I think if you're on like Chromecast, you got those three little dots that you got to click.
Yeah, I see the three little dots, but it only says
Well, no,
edit.
because
Okay,
he's normally on his phone, right?
I'm not sure. Maybe Drake can get him in.
Anybody be trading some FX lately?
Man,
Nah,
I'm
but
looking into
Netflix
that.
been doing good though.
No, I was saying FX,
Oh,
like Forex. He said, nah, but Netflix been doing good.
That ain't crazy. That ain't just an hour.
Word.
Well,
I haven't even been watching no Netflix. I need to check. I know they got some good movies by now.
Yeah, it's not letting you in, Gerald. I don't know what's up. It's saying that it says they would need to connect their mic/camera before you can add them to the stream. So when you click the link, it should have asked you, did you want to enable your microphone and your camera?
Yeah, you got to at least enable that mic.
Yeah, when you first log on, it was probably when you first did it, and I'm not sure if you have to. I don't know. I don't really know.
what do you guys think about Rivian?
I think Tesla's gonna have some competition. They can get that act together. I mean, if they can't come up with new concepts of vehicles.
Did he just come out with a robot though?
I mean, yeah, he came up with a robot, but Tesla is a car manufacturing, quote unquote, company.
And the
Because when
robot
you
gonna be driving the car, man.
you say this is a new taxi service,
Yeah. Your
I think
personal
I think
chauffeur.
on the
right?
Tesla, what they basically doing is a different model of different types of cars, and then seeing which one is uh, more of what people like, and then that's why they broke down saying that next year they're going to start making cars, a certain kind of car, even more affordable, and then at the same time, the ones that for people that like fast cars and stuff like that, they're making faster Teslas for those type of people. And then you have the truck scene with them having the truck, building the trucks and stuff like that. It looks ugly now, but I mean, these are prototypes going, looking forward for what they're trying to do in the future. Versus like other companies, they just barely getting on the good foot on just making one car or two cars with electric in it.
Mm.
I mean,
It's hard. It's hard enough to make a bunch of cars that's one style to be an electrical vehicle, but then to make a bunch of different kinds is going to be the test that everybody's doing. This is why Ford hasn't built up to the competition yet. It just started with its electrical vehicle part, but it hasn't built up to the competition because it has to develop a bunch of them, and then you have to have the demand for a bunch of those different types.
Well, no, I think for Tesla right now, it's a supply demand issue. I mean, there's not that many people buying these cars because of the actual economic factor right now. I mean, I think you're talking about the more of a design mechanism. I mean, like Tesla can hire so many people to be designers. Thing is, like,
I'm talking about being able to make it period. And so, like, if it was that easy to in that fashion, if it was that easy to make, every car dealer would have did it a long time ago without no problem, being able to introduce it into the economy. But it's not a easy thing like that to make. On top of that, they have to make millions of them. And in that, just talking about that one kind, they have to make millions of them. And then they have to recoup that money, make sure that people really want this, and they'll be able to fit the supply. Now, if they're making a bunch of different kinds, it makes it even tougher on the company to do that because you don't even know if people aren't into the EVs yet, they're into the old school gas cars. This is something new that's just popping out, and everybody's just following the trend. So it makes a big difference. Once things start getting established, they may have some type of competition, but by then the ruling class will already be where they're ahead of the game.
so where you sit at, far as like the Tesla and Rivian rivalry right now?
Because when you said where do I see them?
No, where do you sit at? Like, what do you stand? So, like, who do you lean towards, far as like the overseer, the overtaker of the actual EV market?
Do I see Tesla taking over the EV market?
Yeah. Or do you see another company?
Well, I think they already got the
You
EV
don't think
market
you
right
don't?
now.
Yeah, I was just going to
Right.
say you don't think Tesla's taking over right now.
Well, no, I mean, like, you gotta understand, like, there's
If it
there's
wasn't
there's
for if
Rivian,
it wasn't
there's
for
Ford,
Tesla, if
there's
it was
Chevy that's coming into play right now.
look at
There's gonna
this.
be a
If
lot
it
of competition coming up
check this
soon.
out. If it wasn't for Tesla, none of these cars would have electrical vehicles. So the thing is, if he had it on a segment he did right. Now, if he just introduces this without bringing in competition, it makes a big difference on the consumers because I might be a Ford type of person, so I only buy Ford cars. Another person might be a Chevy person, so they only buy Chevy cars. So his idea was just because he's new and he's Tesla, it's only going to be a certain amount of people that buy it. But if I can be able to introduce the idea to other companies as far as how to produce electrical vehicles in that fashion, then it'll be on the page of where they can develop it with their customers, and there'll be more people that'll be privy to buy my product. And so
Yep.
that's why I was saying like they're ahead of the game in a whole lot of ways.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think we had a live for this. We was talking about the licensing and patenting that Tesla can actually do to help out them produce or give the idea to other car makers, right? But I'm just saying right now, as far as the future, yeah, Tesla has it on lock right now, but like I'm trying to forecast it out to the future. Do you think another EV company can overrun Tesla?
Hey, I would like to
No,
speak
I
on
don't
this,
see it.
sir.
I don't see it. I mean, I maybe how about this? If Elon Musk was to step down and then you had somebody else to pick up the slack and run Tesla, I think that other people would probably overthrow it or be a tough competition to him.
Now, see,
But
I like how you
the
said
reason
that. That's gonna be big
I only
shoes to fill though,
no, I
because
only said that because that almost happened at one time, and that's why Tesla was doing real bad. And then when that dude ended up leaving the company and they ended up handling their business part of it, that's when Elon took over and it was able to flourish. So that's what makes a difference.
Hey,
but you
can I add a couple comments on that?
go ahead.
Yeah, hey, peace and profit to you guys tonight, man. I'm new to StreamYard, so apologies for the delay.
It's all good, fam. Peace,
Peace,
peace.
Drill. Peace.
Peace.
Hey, I just want to say I agree totally with what Brother Sonny just said there. I mean, Tesla has the space on lock, and as far as logistics, as far as innovation, I want you guys to think about a couple things. Number one, every car that they sell and it's driving on the road today, it already is sending back geospatial data back to Tesla servers. So uh, back at its inception or at its genesis, they was talking about a sector of highway in California with the driverless cars and all these driverless vehicles. They already thinking on that space. So as far as people like Ford, I heard that electronic F-150 is nice and just as good as the fossil fuel version, but Ford has logistics issue in getting parts. That's part of their issue right now on their legacy vehicles and the EVs. They can't get the parts in that they need. Now, as far as a competitor, but they kind of high end, is Lucid. In my opinion, they make a very nice product, and if everything comes to fruition, I might get one of those. But I mean, Tesla just has supply chain laid out. It has the batteries. It has what the future is going to be, and I think they got the space on lock for a while. And I
That's what I
fall
wanted
back.
to ask too about that's one question I wanted to ask about who is making most of the batteries for these EV companies. Does Lucid Motors make batteries too?
I think they have a battery facility, but as far as I know, Tesla has already got what y'all familiar with the term vertical company? They basically vertical. They make
Yeah,
everything.
everything in house.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I think they got it on lock, as you know. And people gonna be loyal to their brands. I haven't heard anything about the electronic Silverado and what's the other little vehicle? Is it the Cruise for Chevy?
Think so, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not too sure, but
They
people gonna
got
be
the
brand.
I had did it bought into a stock the other day in the on the pre-market on that. But they got Harley Davidson got electrical motorcycles now. And
Wow.
so
That's crazy. That's like some Tron
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I think it's MBOB or MBOE is mobile or something like that.
Yeah, I heard they got
Oh shit, that might look bad as hell.
I heard they got the electric station wagon.
Hey,
Nah,
An
hey, just
electric
and
station
just
wagon?
I'm just playing.
hey, just think about that though, guys and gals. That with this whole EV thing and with the battery situation, you're gonna have a new precious metal, which is cobalt, which is like the main metal in these batteries. That may be something to keep your eye on too. I don't know if anybody look at commodities.
Okay. Where's most of the cobalt come? Is that come out of Africa? What is most of the cobalt
Yeah, it's
coming
been a
from?
lot. They found a nice deposit in Africa, but the work conditions is kind of like what we saw with Nike and Apple. So I
Mm.
don't I know we broadcasted, so I don't want to get too far into that and offend nobody.
So would you be able to invest into cobalt like the
Yeah.
same way you'd be investing in silver or gold?
Yes, sir.
Yep. If you find the
Mm,
index, yep, you could.
I'm just that's something to think about. Well, not really think about because everything is so much going over the batteries. Everybody's going over the batteries from your riding lawnmowers. You just put us on, say Harley Davidson. I mean, big brands like that switching over to batteries, they're gonna need that metal.
wow. I wonder when they're gonna start using the graphene. I hear that's a lot more. It's a lot stronger. A lot. It conducts better.
Probably as soon as they can get a good prototype together and go through all. They probably going through all the testing right now. I mean, who knows unless you really just reading every single report. It's just so much information out there.
Does
Mm,
anybody remember that gas that Obama was talking about for
gas.
batteries? Yeah, that was mighty like in Ukraine and then like shipped to Asia.
Are you talking about the
It,
fertilizer?
not for like it was it had to do something with the chips. I forgot the name of it was. I gotta find that video.
Oh, I'm not tracking, sir.
I'm sorry.
You said it was a company that had to deal with chips.
No, so Ova was talking about one time where it was a gas, I think that had to been mined or something like that, and then it was shipped up,
A gas that was mined.
Are you like a
and it was like
natural
a certain piece of
gas?
metal. Yeah, it was
Oh,
transferred
Oh,
okay.
and it was placed on these chips. I forgot the name of the gas.
Maybe like argon or something. I'm not sure.
That yeah, that sounds familiar. That name of that damn gas.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Argon. It may not be argon, but I was thinking in that terms of.
Hey, while we got this break in the air, y'all mind if I double back on a Nike comment?
Go ahead, brother.
Mhm.
Yeah, I get the sentiment on how you saying they kind of leaving a little guy to hang out there, but these guys are. I think they got scared doing you know 2020, and they trying to get them some type of Amazon model, and they playing in this metaverse real hard. They doing stuff with NFTs, and they also doing stuff with the metaverse on this blockchain.
Yeah, they definitely are. I mean, because I invest in Roblox, which is obviously taking a hit, but they have a thing with Roblox. They have a thing with a lot of metaverse type platforms, but at the same time, the reason why I know they shot themselves is because with mom and pop stores, they didn't allow them to do COD. It wasn't like Nike was extending credit to these people, right? There's some companies that hold their own paper, and there's companies that use credit factors. And when you're talking distribution, right? So, for example, if you had a store in, let's just say you had a store. What city are you in? If you don't mind, me asking.
I'm in Texas. I'm in
So
Central Texas.
you in Central Texas, right? So my man got a store in Balch Springs called Unique Fashions, right? So let's say he wanted some Nikes, right? Let's say he really wanted. Let's say this. I can tell you for a fact this is what they did when the Yeezys were still with Nike, right? When he did the first Air Yeezy
Mm-hmm.
for new accounts, they had to order all the garbage, right? Literally, all the garbage just for an opportunity to be considered for the Yeezy, right? So they'll have to take like sneakers that Nike knew wasn't going to sell, knew wasn't going to be profitable. So when you have that type of business model, it's a win-win, right? But then if you're a guy because you want that customer in your store that wants the Yeezy, you understand where I'm coming from? To the point where you be like, yeah, I know it's hustling backwards because a lot of these other shoes are not really making markup on, but I got that customer now that wanted that Air Yeezy 1 and 2, right? But
Yeah.
then, but then you invest all of that money and that time and effort to get certain sneakers just for them to say a year and a half later, you're not getting any sneakers. You understand where I'm coming from?
Oh, that's
That
ugly.
that's yo, I'm telling you, my man who owned these, he owned 2 Finish Line stores. Because what Finish Line used to do, what they still do it. I don't know if they do anymore because of Nike. But what Finish Line used to do is if you had a mom and pop clothing store, you could lease the Finish Line name, and as long as you had the liquid capital, you could use their Nike account legally. Like Nike knew about it. So he had 2 Finish Line stores called Laces in the Central Florida area, and he did well. And I was even helping him backdoor product that he didn't need to other stores that needed Nike. And then he calls me one day and say, "I just came from my Nike appointment. They taking everything." I'm like, "What?" He said, "They taking everything." They like, "You lucky to get some Air Force Ones, and if we feel like it, yeah, we taking it." And it's crazy because he's been with them for almost 10 years. So it's just what they did was just crazy when you think about it, right? Like especially when you're a big box chain store like Macy's, and you
So
say
so
I'm
they not loyal, is what you saying? They not
well,
loyal
yeah,
to
they
their
not because when I was a
yeah.
buyer, bro, let me tell you, when I was a buyer, they treated mom and pop just like they treated big box chain stores. If it was the Magic Showtime in Vegas where everyone met to do buying and selling, we had all the exclusive Nike parties. All like I'm talking about anything you wanted, right? Like they treated mom and pop like they treated because the mom and pop is who gave them their first shot, right? It wasn't a big box chain stores. So what they did across the board, now we understand capitalism is amoral, but not every capitalist is amoral. But what they did was kind of unethical because it's like, yo, your distribution, you don't even have a sneakers app if it wasn't how you treated, if it wasn't for how you even treated mom and pop stores, making them take all that garbage. Because if you notice, the sneakers app is what? Only premium hyper strike sneakers, right?
Yep,
Sneakers that
yep, yep.
so think about that. So you using all of your mom and pop distribution channels for them to take the garbage so you can make top dollar off of what the sneakers that everybody want and then tell them now you're not getting those sneakers, period. It just yeah, I think we have to look at things from both sides of the spectrum. We understand they try to take the Amazon model, but what risk does Amazon really own with them doing their shipping distribution, right? Amazon went to every major retailer and said, "Hey, let's partner up with you. We just want to ship it." Right? They were your first like drop shipper, right? Like they just Nike, why would you want to copy someone that don't even hold risk to an extent? Like,
Now, I think you hit it on the head, though. I mean, when you really talk about, I mean, don't get it wrong. I'm for capitalism, but if you look at it at its purest state, it's cutthroat. And Amazon can be trifling too, because if you're doing real good, they can either make you or break you. So, I mean, they have their issues. And it just, you putting this backstory on there. I mean, I seen that firsthand. I mean, where we live here, we're probably what 2 hours south of Dallas, an hour north of Austin,
okay.
and so when we go to these larger cities, I was like, man, we got better sneaker selections back here in Killeen, and
Oh, you in Killeen, Texas. Okay. So
yes, sir, yes,
you're not
sir,
far from Houston, really.
yeah,
Right?
about 2 hours
Yeah.
from Houston. Even Houston a little different. They're a little you got more options and stuff
Yeah,
there, but I'm
Houston
just
is
saying,
yeah, Nike made Houston one of their hubs on the low. Yeah, you got some dope shoe stores out there.
yeah, but but when if you was to compare, well, I'm gonna say previously, if you was to compare Killeen to anything within just say 200 miles radius, excluding Houston, then I mean the guys was on their game, and then I used to walk in these stores you just mentioned. Guy got a space in the mall. It's not a Foot Locker. It's not a Champs, or it's not a what is it, Finish Line. You know, but they have classic. They want to put out good apparel. And really, ever since everybody started coming back outside, they've been suffering. I mean, I ran it through that this summer. I said, man, what's going on? Even one store in our mall here closed down because they used to have all the kicks, the composites or the foam posits or whatever they call them, the Air Force Ones, and you have all just the latest, and they folded up. And I attributed it to what happened with the pandemic. However, when I started going to Foot Locker, and I'm like, okay, you guys usually have something. It was limited sizes, limited options, and there was like, ain't nothing we can do. Can you order them? And I come back in a couple of days and pick them up. Nah, if they ain't online, we ain't got them. That's what they're
Yep.
saying.
Yep. I mean, Nike. Let's not forget that even before the pandemic, Nike made an announcement that they were going up 15% on certain like Jordans and certain sneakers, right? And this was
Yep.
before inflation. This was before the pandemic. Um, so when you look at that in totality, so I'm gonna give you another example. Brandon might know if he's familiar, but Sneaker Villa was the number one competition of DTLR. And what happened was, and I know this for a fact because both of them bought my clothes into their stores. Sneaker Villa was told by Nike, we're gonna have basically like a little race or competition. Who can open up the most doors? We're basically going to, you know, you're gonna be our stepson, right? We're gonna make sure you get all the sneakers. You ain't gotta buy none of the junk. So what happens is Sneaker Villa, for temporarily for like a year, has surpassed DTLR in doors, and then DTLR got bought by Foot Action, and then which is a subsidiary at the time of Foot Locker, right? And then they bought Sneaker Villa, right? So all these companies did all of these shiftings for Nike, just for Nike to say no Nikes. You understand where I'm coming from? You talking about over 300 doors of retail.
And you talking about from like you talking about the last 2 or 3 years then, right? When shipping was at a premium.
Well, we also talk when the race first started, it was like 2013, let's say 2014, when the comp was on each other, because Sneaker Villa was originally out of Philadelphia, as DTLR is originally from Baltimore. And so, but like, and the reason why I say Brandon might know, because DTLR has started to spread all the way to Chicago.
Wow.
And then Sneaker Villa went all the way north to Buffalo, and then all the way west to about Detroit. So they would, and then Sneaker Villa started to go into DTLR territory, which was like Alabama, Mississippi. Because what DTLR did was conquer the Southeast market heavy, right? So they wouldn't like places that the average store wouldn't care to, like, I'm talking about like Natchez, Mississippi, and Sweet Yellow Corn, Alabama. Like they were in the middle of nowhere, right? 2 traffic lights in the DTLR. That's like they used to say that. And so you gotta understand, do you understand like the corporate shifting in your corporate strategy, right? You bringing in all these clothes, because both of them were heavy fashion, like urban fashion retailers, along with sneakers. But then, you know, like the sneaker business was ultimately going to set you aside from everyone else, and then for Nike to come and be like, you know what, gotcha. It's kind of, it's weird.
Well, I would just think if somebody come, I really hate that, man, because everybody in my house wear Nike, you know. And but they set themselves up, if you got like a Under Armour, a Reebok, or Adidas to come by and you know, because that's what I'm seeing on the in these stores now, is a lot. They got more wall space. If it makes sense what I'm saying.
It makes total sense what you're saying, because like body store, first of all, Under Armour is retarded for thinking they have the leverage to do what Nike did, right? Because first of all, you ain't, like you said, every kid in your house wear Nike. I guarantee you, none of your family said, "Hey, can you give me them Under Armour sneakers?" This never.
Nobody.
Right? So for them to even contemplate what Nike did, I don't even understand what was their reasoning behind that, because I know people who work for Under Armour as designers, and all they're doing is just repositioning graphics. They're not designing anything. So it's like, if it wasn't like, I would say this: does Under Armour make better workout apparel than Nike? 100%. Do they have the distribution? Do they have the distribution or the design and the chemistry of brand equity that Nike has? No, right?
Nah.
See, and another thing I didn't understand about Nike is that when you understand how Europe works, right? See, Europe is not a consumer-driven country before social media, right? When I first started going to like Amsterdam and Germany and places like that in 2010, you would go to Foot Locker, it would be 80% Adidas. You'll see like two different styles of Jordans, Air Force One, and that's it. If you go to the main shopping area of Amsterdam now, it's Nike, right? Why? Because of social media, right? I'm looking at what Americans is wearing. Americans are starting to tour more over here and visit now. You understand what I'm saying? When I was in Stockholm, Nike. You know, when I was in Stockholm in July, you seen the Nike. Now you see the Under Armour influence, because Stockholm is a very as far as in Sweden, it's a very health-driven city, right? So they're into their working out. They're aware.
Fitness and stuff.
Right,
Right.
exactly. They're into fitness training. So it's a little bit less fashion-driven. But if I'm telling you, if you go to Amsterdam tomorrow and go on Roken Street or on the opposite side of Damn Central to where the shopping is at, it's Nike, 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 and Nike, right? It's like I seen it go from Adidas and Reebok to all Nike. And I'm talking about everybody you see are carrying Nike bags. To even one of their headquarters is in South Amsterdam, is in Bilmar Station. So what they did, I think they just got, sometimes it's self-sabotage, right? Bite your nose to spite your face type thing. Because it's like, yo, why? If what's crazy about Nike, they're the only oversaturated company that still could be saturated, right? Literally, if you saturate every wall with Nike, you're gonna sell out, right? Most shoes is gonna continue to perform, and it's like it's just corporate greed. It's just corporate greed.
No, you hit it. Hey, that's straight. That's pure capitalism. That's what it is.
I mean, that's what it is in a nutshell. It's corporate greed, and you see it. Listen, you know what's crazy? If look at the articles about China inventory, but you notice none of them said from Nike, well, maybe it was us from pulling the actual inventory from off these stores.
No,
Because once again, if they called Foot Locker in all of these stores, they pull product out today and say, yo, we in business, yo, the sneakers will be shipped out tomorrow.
yeah.
Right.
Well, I agree. They have a huge plant in South Korea and a major hub in China, but hey, we're not the CEOs. I really think they're just trying to funnel. They're gonna try to funnel everybody into their space.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, to me, I
Wholeheartedly.
mean, when you're doing business, though, you got to be loyal to the people who got you. Maybe that's some street stuff or
That's street stuff.
Nah, that's business.
That
This is
ain't
business.
that ain't corporate business.
I was just gonna say that's street stuff.
That's
'Cause,
street.
Yeah, he said that street stuff.
everything, yeah. I mean,
That's street stuff,
the
buddy.
by when Jerome Powell gives his speeches and he tells you because the unemployment has went down that he's going to raise the rate hikes because the unemployment went down. That already tells you that I mean all this is a game. It's a gimmick. That's street stuff when they be on that page.
Yeah,
oh yeah, it's Ponzi
three
scheme.
car Molly.
Hey,
Molly.
hey, Price, remember that cadence? Give you $100, take back 99.
Yeah, that's where we at right now.
That's where we at.
Well, I think what year Biden is in? His third year? Third year, right?
Second. This is second.
Yeah, this is second. Third coming
Okay.
up in 2023.
Right, because I just feel like at this point they're gonna be like, yo, whenever they want to get someone out of office, you do the referendum on economics because 90% of people vote with their purse, right? And
Facts.
because that's what makes sense to them. So it's like the best way to get Biden out of office is to have a slowed down economy, a more expensive dollar, and have people suffer a little bit because it's like I ain't winning under him, so it's like I got to get to the next person. It's a referendum.
Well,
Because it ain't no secret that the midterms is what, November, right?
Like next month.
There you go. Yeah, so there you go. The midterms, and right now the Dems had the House and the Senate. They had a slight advantage, right? So, listen, it's literally political theater, And the only ones that are VIP at the show are us, the people that actually participate in the market.
Now that I agree with, and that's what I'm frustrated with. As far as politics, I think they both are the same people, whether you blue or you red. It's just my opinion. I don't want to push
Nah,
nobody buttons, but
nah, I agree with you. It comes
What
down to the
stock?
dollar at the end of the day.
What stock
yeah.
do you? What stocks do you think that are be more effective during the polls or during the midterms?
Big corporations,
Yeah. Well, think
I
your
about
mean,
it.
big,
such as what?
Okay.
meaning like your alphabet corporations always gonna do well
What?
under a total free market economy, right? Um, uh,
No, I mean not doing well. I mean, there's
I'm
a lot
talking
of them gonna
about,
do well.
I'm
I'm
talking
talking about
about
that has
stock
to deal with it.
performance.
No, I'm talking about that has to deal with the political structure. Like, say for instance, Funware, right? Funware is a tech company that deals with political advertising,
Okay,
right?
Mm.
right.
Like, is there any companies that you guys know of that might be strong during the midterms that might have to that deals with those is what I'm
Well,
asking.
I have to
let
look
me
into
say,
that.
can I say it like this? I think next week. I mean, I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on for a minute, bro, Sunday.
Hmm.
Big banks are gonna put out their earnings next. Is it next week or maybe we got the next?
I think we got the next.
Okay, who wins when interest rates are high? Then we have a certain senator that's head of the banking and finance committee. I may be saying that wrong, but she really been caping for them this year.
Mm,
Really been caping for them,
right.
and I'm gonna leave it at that. I see where you're going, but I'm just saying it's these are legacy systems that just lay there in the shadows and they wait for an opportunity. The brother just said, "Hey, capitalism is."
I'm not going nowhere with it. I'm trying to make money. I'm asking y'all so I can find out
Yeah,
for the
I
future.
feel what you're saying.
Like
I feel
like
what you're saying.
I know a few companies, but it ain't no money big money makers. That's why I didn't even mention it. Like I just used Funware as an example. They got what's it, Grom or GROM? That's another one. There's a few of them. I
Well,
just go ahead.
I think no, I'm what I'm saying out there to say. I'm thinking everybody's going to start looking good from here on. We may see a little more loss, a few more loss here and there on some of the risk on stuff or some of your Nasdaq, but I think everybody we're about to be green for a minute.
How?
Um, okay, if you was to pull up your inflation right now, I think it's curving or it's starting to bend a little bit. So I'm expecting good CPI numbers next whenever they announce in the next couple of weeks. I just told you the next sector to report earnings is the banks. The Fed already scared. They had a meeting this morning because globally something's broken in this fiat system. Something is broken. When you got one guy saying crank it up, let's crank up the rates, and you got other guys already folded. You know, how does that look when I say, hey Sonny, let's go over here and do this, and then I fold and you keep going? That means we're not on one accord. So something is wrong. They're not the central banks across the globe are not on one accord. Is all I'm getting at.
Yeah, I hear you, but I mean, I kind of don't understand because I can't. I don't look at it working like street shit, like because like how I was telling Mo, most of your investors, your hedge fund companies, only last from 3 to 5 years. And then most of these people that you see that talk on the headlines that's been doing it for 20 something years with certain companies, they didn't jump from company to company to company. So with that being said, it's like looking at it at them being on one accord, that's never gonna happen. So what it is different companies are trying to catch up to what these rate hikes are basically bouncing out to. So when they like, and it makes a difference with their money, like how the brother Andre was talking about how Nike did his partner. This all has to do with rate hikes, because the more they keep raising up the rate hikes, they have to make do with the money that's coming back in, and how they can actually keep the money, keep the companies afloat, and that goes with all of them. So with that being said, like we'll just use Nike for instance, right? Nike, because of all of this different stuff, the people might think that Nike's going down, is doing bad, and this and that. But a lot of these companies are doing this on purpose. Is they're having sell-offs and releasing cash or liquidating cash, because they have to prepare for whatever is going to happen if we have more rate hikes. So that's what most of your big companies, that's all they're doing. And so the other day when we were talking about like trying to catch the companies, because all of these companies, if you notice, are doing this little by little. Every company that's been doing their earnings all year has been, like major companies, has been having that big sell off, and a lot of it is due to some of them are due to them as far as like the supply and demand, but most of it is to be able to liquidate there so they could be able to balance whatever comes at them. And so that's why I was saying, as far as it just rising up like that, like the market's not going to just have a steady rise from here on out, because there's still 1.25 rate hikes that has to go on this year, and then they're going to be another, I think, 350 next year. So as long as they keep on putting more interest in on everything, it's going to be where it's harder for companies to sell products to people who has to spend more, who doesn't make as enough money.
And I don't think he can do it, is what I'm saying, because I mean we're actually talking about two different things. You're talking about monetary policy and you're talking about fiscal policy. So we have fiscal policy here in the States. They have fiscal policy in England. They have fiscal policy in Japan. They have fiscal policy in Germany. But monetary policy, because we are a global economy, regardless of how you say it. I'm just saying we already seen three central banks, three out of the G20, or maybe no, that's three out of the G7. We saw Japan flex. We saw Great Britain, UK. We saw them crumble. And then who else was it? I think the Bank of South Korea faltered a little bit. So they have to all be on one accord. Jerome Powell had 7 counterparts for the G7 where he go meet with at Davos, Sweden. He has 7 counterparts that they need to be on the phone. They had to be on one accord because we are globally connected. And I'm just saying 3 of the 7 have already faltered. And if we span it out to the G20, I'm quite sure Canada, France, Mexico, I'm quite sure they feeling the pain. They just being quiet. They staying out of the headlines. Or maybe we just immune or blind to whatever is going on in their area because we worry about our own struggle. So here, then when we zoom in and start talking about fiscal policy, then what should be happening is as the dollar goes up, bonds should be strong. Something's going on, in my opinion, with the bond market. But I know we have government bonds, we got municipal bonds, we got corporate bonds. So I know we got all these various bonds, but people have really been just hanging out in cash.
But have bonds been going strong, or have bonds been going strong only Friday and today?
Well, to me, it doesn't work right because if I got a 2-year bond, I'm supposed to make less money than you when you have a 10, 20, or 30-year bond. But what it looks like,
why would that happen?
That's the way it works. If I'm going to take the risk the longest, I should get more return on it.
So people that do have bonds, you don't think that the more that they have, that they can hedge them?
No, well, I am not a bond expert, but I do know personally that I got a mix. I have about a 70-30 mix of bonds, cash, and equities, and my bonds have been losing on a account I have.
Yeah, so if your bond's been losing, then this means the yield's been going up, and if the yield's been going up, then it's too much pressure for the market to go up. This means
But
that what you were talking about, as far as from you see it going green here on out, it can't happen because according to your thing, the bonds is going down, so this means the yield has to go up, and if the yield is going up,
okay.
how could it?
Well, when I say green from here on out, I'm just talking about like more or less a relief rally. I am not talking about it's going to be 2013, 2015 again. I need to clarify that. I am not saying it's going to be game on, because that goes to the next thing. Because in this scenario, when the Fed is raising interest rates, we expect the consensus is that the valuation of the market is too high. The trend was the only good thing we had going. Then we should be expecting some type of shrinkage overall in the economy. So when we expect this type of scenario, everybody should be hedging in cash, commodities, and treasuries. But it seems like everybody just been focusing on cash. That's been the talking points, cash. And I'm not
Yeah,
saying you can't.
because we're like I agree with you with that we're gonna have a rally, but what it is a bear market rally, meaning that we might have a spike up, but the market is still going down. So this is why a lot of people are more into cash when the market is going down because you get stocks for cheap. The ones that you want that you looking forward to for the next 5 to 10 years, you can buy these at real discount prices. So this is why a lot of people are more into cash right now.
No, I agree, but also, but the head should be bonds, and people have, something it hadn't been clicking right. I mean, you had to find the sweet spot or be able to trade them daily. That's not
But
my strong point.
as long as they keep doing the rate hikes, if you're buying in the bonds is going to be more expensive.
What?
So a lot of
Yeah,
people is not going to buy into the bonds.
but that's the hedge traditionally. Let me say it like that. Traditionally, that has been the hedge. Either your precious metals, your bonds, cash, or commodities. So nobody's been able to time the energy. Well, I'm quite sure everybody wants to be in energy now, but that's a small sector of the market. And all I'm saying is, we've been talking here for about what 5 minutes, and ain't nobody really hit on what equities to get into. Only equities you're going to get into are the risk on assets, are the ones that you feel really strong about. Because you're saying, oh man, let me get this at this price, and I'm willing to hold this for the next 5, 10 years.
Well, I mean, if you can buy into a bunch of equities right now that could do good in the future because a lot of them are cheap. All the stocks are down right now. So it
Yeah,
depends on, but it depends on what kind of price that you want to buy it for. So
yeah,
that's
that's
the
some.
difference.
That's that you hit the first question. Okay, do you like the price that you're getting it at, and then how long are you willing to hold it to meet your expectations? When you say future, when is that?
Well,
We talking about.
that's everybody varies. It's just like say if I like Meta, I don't like Meta, but say
I
if I
got
like
you. I got you.
if I like Meta, right? And last year it was at $300 something. I wouldn't dare buy a bunch of shares of that. But then this year comes along, and now I can buy it for 130. I can get almost three of them for the price of one. So now you get what I'm saying is different. And then if I wait even more because we're in a bear market and because the rate hikes keep going on every other month and because there's an incentive value to have people get fired or people to lose their job and unemployment to go high, it's a real high incentive for that. I might as well take my cash out and be on the page of waiting until it drop even more because they're going to have to fire their workers and I can buy it for $100. Do you get what I'm
Right?
saying?
No, no, I totally get that. I get that. But I thought you was talking about like the quick lick, and I just don't know.
Oh, the quick licks is if you know the stocks is going down, then I mean especially if it's earnings, right? So say for instance you're on the page of looking at it at your market, look at Webull, and you find out who has the earnings coming up. That's the quick lick because we're in a down market, so ain't too much upside they can really have.
Well, I think that the banks is up next, and I think they're going to be good. I really do, just because of
How? How?
because of the interest rates.
The interest rates are higher, right? Which means they have to charge higher for loans, and if
That's
they
how they
have to
make a
Exactly.
charge,
profit, though.
Remember,
yeah,
That's how they make a
listen,
profit.
listen.
remember,
But if they
remember,
have,
remember,
and
remember
oh,
the
go ahead.
government. Remember the government have all those repayment options. So that's how the banks making their money. Because people who needed rental assistance or mortgage assistance and things of that nature, the federal paid for it, giving paying 3 and 4 months at a time.
Oh, well, then that might be something different,
No,
completely
and,
different.
hey, brother Sonny, think about this too, man. Warren Buffett made a huge play back in the spring, right before we really started going to bottom out, and he went in on Citigroup.
Wait, now that I think of it, hold up. Let me backtrack that because even if the government does give them the money and all that different stuff, right? It goes back to the incentive that they have to make people have less cash and a deflation. So if there's people being fired from their jobs and not getting paid as much while everything is rising up, it'll be hard. It'll still be harder for them to make payments on their rent and their mortgage, and it'll be the dot com. I mean, it'll be the housing bubble all over again. So you could still be on the page of hedging the banks if you really look at it on a long time.
They're going to make money, bro, and they've already they do calculations to say who's going to default and who's going to do what and how they're going to recoup those losses. They got it, somebody that real good at math to do
I believe it. Moderna made money. I mean, it,
that. So yeah, I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's going to be a bull run. I am by no means saying that, but I do see a relief rally coming in.
yeah, I was telling people last week that everybody thought I was crazy, but uh, I was saying that the SPY when it had that drop that it was going to do a baby bounce because you can see that it had a hard drop. The next day it kind of sideways trade. When it does that, you see it usually has the indicators that it's going to have a baby bounce. And what it do? Lo and behold, it had a baby bounce 2 days in a row.
Now, yeah, I would really like to see that keep going to make some type of V-shaped recovery up out of there.
Well, I
Because
mean, I see it going back down again, but I see it coming back up. Like within the next couple of weeks, I see it coming back up almost about 390.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
Because so everybody, like, if you look at the market as a person, living, breathing person has emotions. And then when people are in the market and they're making trades in the market on a daily basis, a lot of times they're working with emotions. So if you look at the market like this, right, you start seeing that Jerome Powell had a meeting earlier. Well, yeah, he had a meeting earlier and he had a meeting Friday. And so during those times of the meetings, you had where it was up and down, and then you had like a stagnation, then you had sideways trading, and a lot of that comes from the sentiment of whatever Jerome Powell is going to say. So on the 15th, he has another speech coming. So
Mm-hmm.
we know that it's 1.25 that he has to do between this year. We don't know if he's going to hit us with 1 point and then 25 on the next one, or it could be 50 and then 75 on the next one, or 75 and 50. You get what I'm saying? So if he does 50, it's going to ease and the market's going to shoot up. If he does another 75 to 100, well, if he does 75, the market already basically based that in. But if he does 100, the market's going to go down, and it'll
Well,
put a damper. Go
well,
ahead.
I just want to speak to them rates because right now that rate is showing up. What is it about? What 325? So if he
Yeah.
goes 75, I think the 2 year was about 420. So if he's go,
It's
and
425.
okay, so just really understand my logic in this. So
Mm-hmm.
if he goes another 75, and we just speaking hypothetical here, because I mean he very well could do this, and we'll just be in some uncharted waters. But if he goes another 75, that'll put it at the rate at at
4
4%.
points.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what is the two
4%.
gonna look? Yeah, what is the two gonna look like? You only got a gap of 20.25
No,
between.
no, brother. That's the 425 is for this year only.
No, I
Yeah,
get that, but
yeah.
what I'm just going with now.
Next year, I think it's three. It's another 3 point something.
Okay. And then and just hear me out though. Just based off of those two things, the Fed rate and the 2 year. I
Uh-huh.
mean, what good does it do? I might as well the 2 year could be killed right there, because why go with the 2 year and risk and take that risk of default or whatever that it's going to be some calculation of default in those type of bonds. I don't know.
Or you think he should just throw 8 points all at once?
Well, no, please, no. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if he was to put at the next meeting, he was to come say, "I'm gonna go set another 75." That will put the rate at even for the 2 year would be at 4.25. But I mean, and I'm just saying that because I don't know how to do the math to really project what the 2 year would do. But all I'm saying is, why would I want to buy a 2 year when I can just keep cash and get the same return? I can just go on the money market and
That,
say, "Hey, man,
and
get."
that's what we was talking about earlier when we said that people is holding on to cash. That's why.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's
so
why.
but and that's what I'm getting at is, okay, then the bond market ain't working right, because if the 2 year is doing the 4.25, and guess what your 10 and your 15, your 20s and 30s are doing? They're in the three. They three something. They almost down with the rate. So
So
that's what
you
I'm
get
saying.
now you get it, and that's why the market is going down.
Well, I'm saying the system is. That's why I asked the question earlier while I was trying to figure out how to get in here. I think the bond market is broken, and I'm just looking at U.S. and government bonds. I'm not saying you can't make money on municipals or corporate bonds. You know, you got to do your due diligence and do your hunting and your fishing. But something is broken. That's all I was, really trying to get clarity on. It ain't working right for me.
Well, awesome. Okay, y'all. So
Okay.
Sunny and I plan to get up at pre-market, and that's 4 a.m. for me. Sunny may not have to go to sleep because he on the East Coast, West Coast.
Uh,
But if I
Okay,
want
Ms.
to make,
Mo, I'm sorry. I always
if
come in
I
here talking too much.
no, I like it. No, I absolutely like it, and I would have actually allowed you to continue. However, since I got to get up at 4 a.m. and we're gonna go live to catch the market to open because we're trying to test a strategy. I have to go to sleep right now, otherwise I ain't gonna make it.
No,
Nah,
I'm getting
yeah,
out of
yeah.
here.
Because basically, we're going to start off on the pre-market, watching the stock, seeing which ones is the best volatile companies for the pre-market, and that's what we're going to jump into, and showing how to trade using the crosses.
All right. Well, I'm gonna try to jump on up and get on up with y'all in the morning.
Okay, I'll post the link.
Yeah, put it in the spot.
All right, y'all. All right, Brandon, you got any last comments?
I'm gonna try to get up there with y'all in the morning.
You know you be see, I'm the only one that's suspect. So I'm gonna post but I'm gonna be
Come
up.
on, Sarge.
I know. I'm gonna be up. Oh. I'm gonna be up. Listen, thanks everybody for watching in the YouTube world. Money, Mo. Look, I can't even talk. Oh my God. Anyways, thank you guys, and y'all have a good night.
Good
Good
night.
You
night.
too.
Peace, everybody.
Hey, great.
Peace.
Peace.